Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro.
And I'm Pauline Berzosa.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
Cardinals will meet in a secret conclave to elect a new pope starting May 7.
Former presidential spokesperson Roque is now facing qualified human trafficking charges over his alleged involvement in an illegal POGO in Porac, Pampanga.
Philippine and American military troops continue to conduct joint activities as part of the Balikatan exercises.
And more voters working on election day cast their votes via local absentee voting.
Now, former presidential spokesperson Roque, along with Cassandra Ong and 48 others, are facing qualified human trafficking charges in connection with their alleged involvement in an illegal POGO operation in Porac, Pampanga. The charge was filed by the Department of Justice stemming from the activities of Lucky South 99, which allegedly engaged in trafficking and other abuses against workers. Roque has denied the accusations, asserting that his involvement was limited to providing legal services for Whirlwind Corporation, which operated Lucky South 99. He claimed that there was no evidence linking him to the trafficking activities and called the charges politically motivated. Roque is currently seeking asylum in the Netherlands. Yon. So, ito na, finally, there's a formal charges na nga kay former spokesperson Roque. Kasi, di ba, sinasabi nga noon nung nawala siya dito, ay wala naman talaga siyang charges dito, kundi yung contempt niya sa filed by the House of Representatives. So ayan, titingnan natin kung paano uusad yung kaso kasi a judge in Angeles will determine if this has a probable cause and we'll see kung paano i-implement, 'di ba, yung arrest warrant because we all know that Roque is in The Hague seeking asylum.
Ayun na nga, no. So he is seeking asylum in the Netherlands and he's always maintained naman, 'di ba, Angela, na hindi siya aware daw dun sa organizational chart na nahanap dun sa Lucky South 99. Sabi niya hindi niya alam kung bakit din daw siya listed as a legal representative. But there were several documents found by PAOK inside this Porac POGO hub, indicating some documents na signed mismo by former presidential spokesperson Roque nga. Pero sabi niya, yung mga document na yan sa executive assistant daw niya na posible daw, baka tumira lang daw dun sa POGO kasi nag-aaral naman daw siya dyan sa Pampanga. But we will see how this will be unfolding. Right now nga, ang Pampanga court ang nag-file ng court. Ano ba yun? Can the government kaya ask for extradition?
Yun ang natin na tanong dyan because Philippines and Netherlands, wala silang extradition treaty.
Okay.
So, kaya yun yung pinakamalaking question dyan. How will they implement the arrest warrant if in case na-determine nga ng court ng Angeles na may probable cause dito sa issue na to, final na complaint against him and others. So we will see what will happen next and wala pa rin tayong iba pang mga development or statement from Roque and yun lang yung sinabi niya, politically motivated ito, etc. And we will see kung what else will happen. Kasi di ba dun sa isa sa pinupukol din sa kanya ay yung pagsama niya kay Cassandra Ong.
Yes, oo, lagi
diba?
daw kasama. So,
pagsama niya sa PAGCOR. So yung isa sa mga nakikita na meron siyang hand in the operation, which is yun nga, kasama nga niya rin si Cassandra Ong.
Nabasa ko nga sinabi ni Yusek Nicolas Felix T. Na even though he claims na he's just a lawyer of Whirlwind Corporation, yun nga, lagi siyang sumasama kay Cassandra Ong sa PAGCOR. And he was even pleading for their case para ma-renew yung kanilang license. So he can't just be, kumbaga may liability dito pa rin si Roque because it's hard naman to say na wala kang alam dun sa ginagawang negosyo talaga ng Whirlwind.
And yet you're with them all the time.
Yes, oo. So, but right now, si Roque nga, Attorney Roque, is in the Netherlands. Initially, para sana maging part ng legal counsel ni former President Duterte, di ba? But hindi siya napasama.
Hindi napasama kasi parang too much issues.
Too much issues. Sabi ni
ayusin na lang
Sarah.
muna niya yung sarili niya doon. And then sila na bahala muna. Ayusin na muna niya yung kanyang pag-seek ng asylum. Diba? Si Cassandra Ong, question here also, nasaan na siya after na ma-lift yung kanyang detention? Nasaan na siya ngayon? Right after this filing of a complaint, we will see about that. But for the meantime, moving forward.
authorities are investigating a shooting incident in Manila that killed a party list nominee. Here's the report.
Ang bumbero ng Pilipinas party list nominee Leninsky Bacod was shot dead by unidentified gunmen. The incident happened at a covered court along P. Guevara Street in Barangay 435, Zone 44 in Sampaloc, Manila on Monday. The victim was with a policeman who exchanged fire with the motorcycle riding attackers. Bacod was immediately sent to a nearby hospital but eventually declared dead on arrival. One individual was also hurt while several vehicles were damaged during the altercation. The barangay has refused to release the CCTV footage pending the investigation. News 5 was able to talk to some of Bacod's relatives following the shooting incident. They said the party list nominee had no known enemies that would have him killed. The Manila Police District's Homicide Division is already investigating the incident. The Commission on Elections has yet to issue a statement regarding the ambush of Bacod. The poll body has so far recorded at least 46 acts of political violence from January, leading to midterm elections. Mobile journalist Amy Atienza, We Are One News.
46 ang acts of political violence from January leading to midterm polls. Palawak ng palawak. Pero although may mga election hotspots naman na itinalaga ang COMELEC, pero ito kasi Manila ito and I'm sure they will always say na this is an isolated case.
Pero nakakatakot nga, no? Yung rising number of election violence-related incidents. Pero I remember back in February, no, meron ding isang party list nominee dun sa magsasaka na si Lejeune de la Cruz,
yes,
diba? Pero na-survive naman niya, fortunately, yung ambush na yon kung saan two gunmen also opened fire at his vehicle. Pero nakakalungkot no, na itong particular nga, yung sa Bombero party list, nasawi nitong ambush na to.
Oo. So hopefully hindi na dumami yung mga election-related violence. And aside from this, we are also monitoring yung mga vote-buying incidents. Diba? Kasi maraming mga show cause orders ang nirelease ngayon ng COMELEC para pagpaliwanag yung mga kampo na allegedly involved in vote-buying incidents dito. Kasama na dyan, of course, yung kay Camille Villar, diba? Yung kay former Manila Mayor Isko Moreno, Sam Versosa, etc. And a lot of personalities, we will see. Kasi yung mga nabalitaan natin, all of these are show cause orders. So we will see kung ano yung magiging desisyon ng COMELEC dito kasi pwedeng maging grounds for disqualification hindi sila pwedeng tumakbo na, 'di ba, in the coming elections.
And itong particular ambush nakakatakot kasi pati party lists, you'd think kasi yung mga election related violence nga would happen in more of local positions, 'di ba, even national, pero pati pala party list nagkakaganyang na rin violence. So hopefully maayos pa yan or wala nang ganyang mga incidents leading up to May 12.
Alright, meanwhile, local absentee voting for the 2025 midterm elections officially began yesterday, April 28. The Commission on Elections opened this process to allow government employees, police officers, soldiers, and media workers to cast their ballots early. A total of 57,682 applicants have been approved by the COMELEC to participate in this year's local absentee voting. The poll body emphasized that individuals who miss voting in the LAV will not be able to vote on May 12 as their records will be transferred for accounting. The LAV will run until April 30 and voters may cast their votes from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, so local absentee voting, nakaboto ka na ba?
Hindi pa ako nakaboto. Ikaw ba?
I plan to do this tomorrow sa last day.
Oo.
Kasi hindi pa tayo pwede ngayon sa mga oras. Pero naglaan talaga tayo ng time dito sa local absentee voting. Kasi tayo mga taga-media, hindi tayo talaga makakaboto sa mismong araw ng election dahil yan ang trabaho natin di ba, mag-cover. So, kailangan lang para hindi naman natin na matalikuran yung ating civic duty ay makaboto tayo. Along with other yung mga government employees, police officers, soldiers, yan, kasama po sila doon sa local absentee voting. Ang magiging diferensya lang dito po din, and I know you know this, hindi tayo makakaboto ng mga local positions.
Yes.
So, we can only vote for party list and senators for midterm elections.
Diba? Pero meron din akong kilala, Angela, na boboto pa rin on May 12 because they also still want to make their vote count doon locally.
Yeah.
So, may ilang tayong kasamaan sa media, parang sa May 12 pa rin sila boboto since kuwari, gabi naman yung shift nila. Diba? Kasi every vote counts and syempre sa mga lokal na posisyon, importante rin na maghalal tayo ng mga leader na may pakialam talaga sa nangyayari locally. Alright, and now let's get insights and updates from Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro. She joins us live this morning via Zoom. Good morning, Yusek. Thank you for joining us here on News and Views.
Hi, Yusek.
Yes, good morning, ladies. Beautiful ladies.
Okay, unahin ko na po, Yusek, can we just get your reaction? Kahapon, nailabas na nga ang qualified human trafficking charges against former Palace Press Officer, presidential spokesperson rather, na si Harry Roque.
Tama lang po, dapat lamang pong lumabas kung ano ang dapat na lumabas para kung sino man ang mayroong kailangan panagutan, dapat managot po sa batas.
Yusek, sabi nga dito, an Angeles court judge will decide if this has probable cause and later on will issue an arrest warrant. But the question here is how will the government or the Philippine government implement this arrest warrant kung nagsisik po ng asylum sa The Hague si Harry Roque, si Attorney Harry Roque?
Depende na po yan Depende naman po yan yung sinasabing right to non-refoulement. Papakita po kung ang pagpapaaresto ba sa kanya ay merong kasama, kaakibat na pag-torture or persecution. Yun yung pinaka-importante doon kasi sinasabi nila kapag meron kang, you're seeking for an asylum, meron kang karapatan, may right of refoulement ka o non-refoulement. Pero you have also to show na bakit ka ba arestuhin? Ang pag-aresto ba sa'yo, because of the persecution, may torture bang kaakibat? So, dapat niya mapakita yan. So now, may case tayo, itong case naman na to, ay makikita siguro ang ebidensya, hindi naman siguro po ang gobyerno ng Netherlands ay magbubulag-bulagan sa ganitong mga klaseng mga sitwasyon. Pero syempre po, nasa gobyerno pa rin po ng Netherlands yan. So, tandaan natin, ang Netherlands po, miyembro po ito ng Interpol.
Yeah, but can you enlighten us, Yusek, because we're not lawyers here, and sinasabi nga po dito, ang Pilipinas at saka Netherlands ay wala pong extradition treaty.
Yes, totoo po. Lumalabas po ng walang extradition treaty. Pero nakita ko po na ang Netherlands naman po ay miyembro ng Interpol. Kung Interpol to Interpol naman po ang pag-uusapan natin, malamang din po ay magkukumit sila at magbibigay din po sila ng kooperasyon patungkol dito.
So, Yusek, tama po ba? So, the DOJ can coordinate with Interpol. Kung if ever magkakaroon nga ng arrest warrant, si Interpol po mag-i-implement nun.
Yes, government to government, pag-uusapan po muna para po sa respeto po. Pero sabi po natin, kung ang Netherlands po ay miyembro po ng Interpol, ay maaari pong makipag-ugnayan ng Interpol to Interpol.
Well, Yusek, just based on what you know, gaano ba po ba ka-solid yung ebidensya laban dito kay Attorney Harry Roque? Because he did argue multiple times, he maintains na siya ay naging legal representative lamang. In fact, hindi naman niya alam kung bakit siya nasama dun sa organizational chart. But is it really possible for a legal representative of a corporation to not know the nature of their business?
But unang-una, baka nakalimutan po ni Attorney Harry Roque na he had this revelations in one of the radio program interviews. He admitted that this whirlwind, sinabi po niya, ito ay yung kayang kliyente, through Cassandra Ong, na itong whirlwind ay di umano, ay isang service provider. Service provider that provided everything, including the employees. So, ibig sabihin, if this whirlwind is working for Lucky South 99 to recruit the employees at siya yung lawyer, so ibig sabihin, may alam siya doon.
Yeah.
And, hindi lang po yan, pati po kasi yung license, si service provider, di umano ang whirlwind, and he was the one seeking, di ba? Or asking help ma-renew ang license ng Lucky South 99, it's direct participation.
Pero Yusek, yes, he indeed admitted na nag-lawyering po nga siya doon, as you've mentioned. Pero sinasabi din po niya repeatedly that these actions does not mean or do not mean na trafficking.
Okay, again, yung empleyado po niya, tinulungan niya na as service provider, not just the owner of the land, not only the lessor, di ba? Hindi lang through the one that leasing the property. Hindi lang yon, hindi lang leasing the property. As service provider. And he knows it. Kapag service provider ka, and your client is providing all the employees. So siyempre lahat buhayan. Why sila yung nagre-recruit eh. So anong pwede niyang sabihin po doon? Well, that's his admissions. Those are all his admissions in one of the radio program interviews. So, tignan po natin kung ganyan naman po ang kanyang depensa. It's up to him to defend himself, to defend his cause para ma-acquit po siya.
Well, Yusek, hindi lang naman po si Attorney Harry Roque yung nasampahan ng kaso, no? Even Cassandra Ong and other members nitong Whirlwind Corporation. Pero may iba pa po ba nga pwedeng charges na ma-file sa kanila bukod dito po sa qualified human trafficking? Because PAOK did find other evidence nga ng illegal detention, cybercrime fraud, etc. po.
Lumalabas po ngayon, hawak ko po ngayon ay marami po talaga nasampahan ng qualified human trafficking. Pero yung iba po, may mga na-dismiss naman din pong. May mga respondents na hindi po sila nakasama at na-dismiss naman po yung mga kaso. So as of the moment po, yun po yung nasampahang kaso, yung qualified human trafficking.
Before we move forward to another issue, maybe you want to give a message to Attorney Harry Roque in light of this cases filed against him?
Well, since this is already a case filed against, well, he can make any legal actions, he can make any pleading, he can file a motion for reconsideration if he wants, but at least he should face the charges filed against him here in the Philippines. Diba? Sabi nga nila, bring home, bring FPRRD home. So we should also request, since there's already a case now that will be filed, there's a recommendation that the case should be filed in court, so he should face it here. He should face those cases here in the Philippines. So let us bring Attorney Harry Roque home.
All right, taking this opportunity to ask you na rin po regarding the issue surrounding the 20 pesos per kilo rice program po ng Department of Agriculture under PBBM administration. A lot of people are questioning its timing, no? Because after 3 years of his administration, bakit ngayon lang na ipatupad ang 20 pesos na programa na ito?
So siguro po doon sa mga nagsasabi ng ganyan, hindi po siguro nila aware kung paano ba magtrabaho ang Pangulo. Hindi lang naman po ito ang issue sa bansa. Pero iniisa po para matupad lahat ang kanyang mga aspirasyon, ang kanyang goals, ang kanyang pangako para sa taong bayan. Hindi po in just one click, kaya na agad. Dahil bakit? Hindi naman po diktador ang ating Pangulo. So yan ay inaaral, ano ang tamang pamamaraan, paano yung budget, paano yung pagtulong ng LGU, paano maibibigay lahat ito ng nasa tama at nasa legal na pamamaraan. Hindi po ito pwede basta na, hoy, gusto ko yan. Hindi po ganoon ang Pangulo. Lahat po ay dapat na naaayon sa batas at dapat po ay tama. So with this, sabi nga natin, ang serbisyo ng gobyerno, wala pong sinasabing timing dito. After the election ba natin ibibigay? Of course not. Sabi nga nila, kailan pa? Kailan pa ibibigay yung damo? Kapag patay na ba yung kabayo? Kung ngayon kailangan, ngayon ibigay. Kung ngayon kayang ibigay, ibigay na ngayon. Dapat ng trabaho ng gobyerno, supposed to be 24/7 para sa taong bayan. So with this, nagkaroon po ng magandang pag-uusap, nakatulong ang Visayas governors, ang lokal na pamahalaan sa Visayas. So ba't hindi po natin i-grab para maibigay po kaagad-agad sa mga constituents, sa taong bayan dyan sa Visayas in particular. For the meantime lang naman po ito kasi hindi po ang Luzon at ang Mindanao gagawin nila ng programa. So unahin lang po muna tayong Visayas dahil marami pong supply dyan. Diyan po talaga maraming supply ng bigas. And at the same time, yung mga local government officers natin dyan, nagpahayag ng kanilang pagtulong. So why not grab it?
Opo. Yusek, follow-up lang po. It's good that you mentioned po kasi napag-aralan po ng administrasyon bago po inimplementa ito. Pero po, doon po sa one of your interviews, you said po na ito pong kalidad, sa usapin po ng kalidad ng bigas na ito na pinag-uusapan, ang sabi niyo po, ito ay 33 pesos talaga. no, na bigas, at ito po ay subsidize. So this is going to be heavily subsidized by the government. So po ang issue daw po dito kasi manggagaling pa rin sa taong bayan yung pera na gagamitin dito sa programa na ito.
Tingin po naman natin ay walang masama po doon dahil ang ayuda, ang AIX, ang tupad, galing po lahat yan sa taong bayan. So lahat po na itinutulong po natin, hindi naman po nanggagaling yan sa bulsa ng sino man. Lahat po tayo kailangan magtulong-tulong kung ano po ang maaaring ibigay ng taong bayan, kung galing ito sa buwis at maitutulong po sa taong bayan, wala pong masama doon. Hindi po dapat ito hindi maibigay. Kung ano po yung ibinibigay na, let's say, tax ng taong bayan, dapat mapunta rin po sa taong bayan.
But Yusek, linawin lang po natin, no? Because you have Vice President Sara Duterte criticizing yung kalidad po nung bigas. Sabi niya, hindi daw fit for human consumption, panghayop pa nga daw po. So let's just clarify the quality, the texture in itong bigas na ito kasi natambak din po ito ng matagal sa mga warehouse.
So I am sorry for her. I am sorry for VP Sara. Hindi po niya kasi inaalam kung ano yung kabuuan ng kwento bago po siya magsalita. Unang-una po, hindi niya nalaman na ito po yung bigas na ibinebenta po ngayon sa kadiwa ng 33 pesos. Ibig sabihin, maganda po yung kwalidad niyan. Maganda yung quality niyan. Ito rin po yung binebenta sa kadiwa na 29 pesos para po sa vulnerable sectors. So it's the same kind ng rice na gagawin na po instead sa kadiwa na P29, gagawin na po na P20. So, ang dahilan lang po ng kanyang pagiging negatibo sa ganitong proyekto ng Pangulo is wala. Para lang ibagsak, di ba? Ibagsak ang integridad ng Pangulo at ng administrasyon. Kaya nga ang tanong natin ngayon, sino ba talaga ang may nais magpapabagsak kanino? Kasi wala pong namumutawi sa Pangulo na VP resign, wala pong ganda namumutawi sa bibig ng ating Pangulo.
Pero Yusek, you also have some advocates concerned about the feasibility of this program, this 20 peso per kilo rice program. Kaya ba ito i-sustain hanggang 2028 po? And kasama po ba yun sa plano? Tuloy-tuloy na po yan hanggang sa end of ng administrasyon ni PBBM?
Ito po yung sinabi natin pag-aaral. Tinignan po talaga kung kakayanin po. Sa ngayon po, napag-aralan na kaya. At ang balak po talaga dito ay hanggang sa December 20, ito pong taon to, 2025. Pero sa susunod na taon, inaaral po na ito ay isama na sa budget para po hindi na rin po magbigay ng subsidiya ang lokal na pamahalaan.
Matitiyak po ba, Yusek, ng DA, pati na rin ng admin ni PBBM na farmers will not incur major losses with this kind of program?
Okay, sa tagal na po ng programa na to, sa kadiwa po, ang NFA bumibili po sa farmers ng halagang yung 33 binebenta po natin. 33 pesos at 29 para sa vulnerable sectors. Wala naman pong nagrereklamong farmers. It's the same. The same pattern. Ganun pa rin po mangyayari. Isa-subsidize lang po ng lokal na pamahalaan at ng national government. Yung 13 pesos. From the 33, gagawin 20, yung 13 yung isa-subsidize. So hindi po malulugi ang farmers dito. Same that po ng pagbili ng NFA ng bigas mula sa local farmers.
What about your reaction po dun sa ibang mga critics against this program na saying na this program is really not organic in a sense na hindi naman po talaga sa market ibebenta yung 20 pesos It's not rice for all. But pinilit lang na magkaroon ng 20 pesos just to fulfill the promise in the election during 2022 elections.
Ang mga tao walang nakikitang liwanag, puro dilim ang makikita niyan. Kailangan pa ba nating pintasan? Kung yung mas nangangailangan, ito po tayo yung nasa laylayan ng lipunan, ang mas nangangailangan. Kasi po, siguro yung mga namimintas po, yan kaya naman pong bumili niyan kung anong klase ng bigas ang kaya nila. Pero ang inuuna po natin ngayon ay yung nasa laylayan ng lipunan. Kung ibibigay po natin to sa mas tao na nangangailangan, ba't hindi po natin ibigay? Sana makipagtulungan na lang po sila. Okay? Kasi kapag hindi po natin tinulungan to, madideprive naman po natin yung mga nasa laylayan ng lipunan na makapag-avail na mas mura. So dapat tignan na lang po nila yung positibong epekto ito, lalo na doon sa mga nangangailangan.
Yusek, I want to go back dun po sa issue ng farmers. Sabi nyo nga po, wala naman po magiging epekto po to sa kanila. But some are saying po, like sinasabi po dun sa Federation of Free Farmers, na ngayong panahon na ito wala. Pero in the long run, meron because of the amount of nagagastusin daw po dito sa pagsasubsidize ng mga palay na ito. Na instead of using na lang daw po itong mga pera na nagagastusin na ito para mas mabigyan ng modern equipment, mas masuportahan po yung mga farmers po natin.
Ibang issue po yun. Alam ko po may mga farmers po ngayon nagpapasalamat kasi kamakailang lamang ay nagbigay po ng makinarya. Ang Pangulo ibang kooperatiba, nasa good news po natin yan. So ibang usapin po yun, ang pagtulong po sa farmers, yung pagbibigay po ng mga titulo, yung tandaan po natin, nagkaroon din po ng amnesty sa mga utang ng mga farmers para yung kanilang mga lupa ay manatili sa kanila. Iba pong proyekto yan. So, hindi po naiiwan ang mga farmers natin. Maraming proyekto ang Pangulo. Maraming binibigay na fertilizer ang Pangulo sa mga farmers natin. Marami po nagsasabi mga farmers sa atin yan. So, iba po ang magiging proyekto natin para sa ikauunlad po ng mga farmers. At iba naman po itong pagbibigay po ng bigas sa halagang 20 pesos kada kilo sa mga nangangailangan.
They're also looking at po kasi dun sa Federation of Free Farmers na one of the factors na na-consider po na gawin itong 20 pesos is to really decongest yung NFA rice po natin sa warehouse. Is that really true po?
Totoo po yan. Kasi kamakailan lamang po, ang naging problema po ng NFA dahil nga po dito sa RTL, yung Rice Tariffication Law, hindi po makapagbenta ng diretso ang NFA sa tao. Because nahaharangan po nung batas ng Rice Tariffication Law. So yun lamang po yung pinakikiusap. Yung provision na po na yon, even before po, kahit nagkaroon ng amendments, naharang po kasi ito eh. Naharang po itong provision na to na nare-request na noon pa po ng administrasyon. May proposal po dyan na bigyan po ng power ang NFA. Kahit po si Secretary Laurel, yan po yung hinihiling. Pero nagkaroon ng amendment, pero naiwan po yung provision na yon. And Senator Cynthia Villar even said, admitted siya dito na she does not want to give powers to NFA dahil di umano sa mga corruption.
Maraming na-suspend during the Duterte administration na officials.
But why should we remove the power when it should be the people who are allegedly corrupt? They should be the one to be removed, not the power of the NFA. Kasi pag tinanggal mo yung power ng NFA, ano nang kikilos to? For the people. So, since tinanggal mo yung power ng NFA, ito yung magiging resulta. So, dahil diyan, hindi po nakapagbenta ng derecho, natandaan mo natin, minsan marami pong nagiging aging rice, nagiging laon. Dahil hindi po ito na ibibigay kagad, dahil hindi naman bumibili karamihan ng LGU. Mabebenta lang po ng NFA yan sa LGU. Hindi po diretso sa tao. So that's the problem. With that, tama po na ang dami binibili ng farmers, from the local farmers, na iimbak. Hindi naman karamihan, madalas ang calamity sa Pilipinas, thank God, walang masyado. Pero doon po nagagamit yan. Sa pamamagitan din po ng DSWD, bibili po yan. Pero kapag natambak po yan, mangangailangan pa po ang NFA na mag-lease, mag-rent ng mga storage for the stocks po. So kailangan po talaga yan mailabas din po yan, ma-release po yan ng mga
Well, Yusek Claire, on a different topic, kakalabas lang po ng Octa Research Survey on the trust and performance ratings of our top officials. And for President Bongbong Marcos, his numbers dipped from the fourth quarter of last year. So ang kanyang trust rating po from 65%, bumaba po ng 60%, and his approval likewise from 64 naging 59%. Can we just get the reaction of Malacanang to that?
So, ang kanyang trust rating, ang trust rating is 60%?
Yes. Yes, Yusek. From 65, naging 60 po.
From sa Octa Research?
Yes. This is just from an Octa Research survey po.
Ang Pulse Asia is 25%.
Po?
So, tama ba? Ang Pulse Asia sinasabi na 25%, but now with Octa Research is 60%. Okay. Tomorrow ko na lang po sasagutin yan at kailangan ko pang kausap ang ating Pangulo patungkol.
Ako last na lang po, Yusek, before we let you go, yung pong usapin na pinupukol po na kayo daw po ay magkamag-anak ni Congresswoman Franz Castro. I think that was said by VP Sara, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, ito na naman po, ang nakakalungkot, mukhang hindi po talaga siya nakikinig at hindi niya nakikita. Napapanood ang mga press briefings, hindi rin po yata siya nanonood ng mga programa ng Pangulo sa PTV4. Babanggitin ko na kasi karamihan po ng mga programa po ng Pangulo
Right.
ay nasa PTV4, sa RTM, Radyo Pilipinas. So that's the problem with her. Hindi po siya nanonood, hindi niya nakikita yung mga trabaho ng Pangulo at ng pamahalaan para sa taong bayan. And with that issue, hindi rin po siya nakinig at nanood ng press briefing. Noong ko pa po sinabi na hindi po kami magkamag-anak ni Representative Franz Castro, pero sinabi niya magpinsan kami. So definitely, that's disinformation. Nakakalungkot na galing pa mismo sa isang vice presidente ang magsasabi sa taong bayan ng isang disinformation. Pero sabi ko nga po, kung naging kamag-anak ko man si Representative Franz Castro, ikatutuwa ko. Pero nagkataon po kasi na hindi.
Yusek, pero why do you think po na may insinuation po na ganun?
Insinuation, hindi siya insinuation.
Oh.
Ginawa niya factual.
Oh, bakit po do you think na may ganun po na sinasabi kayo po yung magkamag-anak? And what's the story behind it? Bakit po kailangan sabihin po yun?
Siguro, ako, I cannot speak for the Vice President,
Yeah.
But the way I see it, it's just Representative Franco is kind of critical on her because of 125 million confidential funds that as of now, hindi pa rin di umano na account ng mabuti dahil ang dami-daming lumalabas na mga fake or mga questionable receipt from the OVP and the DepEd. So, ako naman, I'm not critical on her. Nagkataon lang po siguro na kailangan ko lang sagutin kung ano yung mga issue na ibinabato niya sa Pangulo at sa pamahalaan.
So parang kakampihan kayo, baka ganun ang isip.
It's the same issue and we have the same ideas or opinion. Hindi pwedeng hindi magkapareho. Pero hindi sabihin nun na nag-usap kami to be critical on her.
Alright, thank you so much for your time, Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro.
Meantime, Auto Research President Professor Ranjit Rai said the senatorial race for the 2025 midterm elections remains dynamic. He stressed that the final stretch of the campaign could still impact the rankings for the 10th, 11th, and 12th spots in the so-called Magic 12.
Given the time that exists for campaigning, I would think that the numbers will change and that there's really a close fight for, 10, 11, and 12.
Meanwhile, Rai also pointed out that President Bongbong Marcos continues to enjoy majority trust and approval from Filipinos despite a slight dip in his latest ratings. Now, in contrast, Vice President Sara Duterte saw a significant increase in her trust and approval ratings.
In the case of the president, majority of Filipinos continue to trust and approve of his performance despite the declines. As far as VP Sara is concerned, we saw a surge in her numbers for trust and performance.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
Roman Catholic cardinals will meet in a secret conclave to elect the new leader of the church starting May 7th. Jovi Francisco has a story.
The process of electing a new pope will begin 2 days after the end of Novemjalis, the 9 days of mourning for Pope Francis. After meeting for more than 3 hours, the College of Cardinals chose May 7, 2025 as the start of the conclave. One by one, the cardinals exited the Pope Paul VI Hall, determined not to give details of what transpired during their congregation. But Vatican sources revealed that the pre-conclave meeting focused on organizational and housekeeping matters. Several cardinals were given important conclave roles. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle was chosen by lottery to be one of the Camerlengos or caretaker's assistants. Aside from discussing church issues, there were directives to prepare the Sistine Chapel for the closed-door papal election and to make sure that the chimney will function well. The church has 252 cardinals. 242 of them attended the funeral last Saturday. 180 of them are still in Rome attending the congregations. Only 135 of them are allowed to vote for the next pope. 80% of them were appointed by Pope Francis. On the 7th of May, the cardinal electors will attend the Mass Pro Eligendo, a Eucharistic celebration. Then, they will enter the Sistine Chapel where the conclave will officially begin. Each of them will take oath committing to the process and even vow to maintain absolute secrecy. Then, the cardinals are confined inside the basilica. They will hold 4 rounds of ballot per day until a candidate gets 2/3 votes. The public will be able to monitor the results in person at St. Peter's Square by looking up the chimney. Black smoke means no decision yet. White smoke signals we have a new pope. A separate process happens indoors after the cardinals pick a new pontiff. The new pope is revealed at the balcony in front of St. Peter's Basilica.
We need to pray for the cardinals. Siyempre, ito yung crucial moments na they will select the new pontiff. Pero wala tayong expectation kung sino ang magiging new Holy Father. Because hayaan natin ang Holy Spirit na pumili through the cardinals kung sino ang magiging bagong papa.
So I'm hoping na ang next leader din ng ating simbahan, para kagaya din po ni Pope Francis. Lalo na po kasi na talagang Pope Francis brought the church to the modern world, no? Kasi talagang inclusive, no? Lahat tayo pantay-pantay. 'Yun ang naging mensahe kasi niya at mensahe ng pagmamahal.
Kung ano yung nangyayari sa mundo ngayon, parang napapariwara pa tayo. So gusto natin gusto natin ng isang malakas na moral compass na nag-encapsulate talaga, sinasabuhay yung kung ano talaga yung mga turo ng simbahan at ni Jesus. Just like essentially love.
Reporting from Vatican, Rome, Joby Francisco, we are One News.
Yan talaga nga abangan natin. Actually, hindi lang tayo, but buong mundo, di ba? Kung sino talaga yung papalit ngayon kay Pope Francis. Oo.
And merong date na nga, which is May 7. But from now, nasa gitna pa rin tayo ng Novemdiales.
Yes.
9 days of mourning. So, mas magandang, sabi ng church, to focus on that first. But you also have some of the cardinals already meeting na nga, yung mga congregation nila. Discussions. And during this time, meron nga yung tinatawag na papal campaigning. That is not really much of a campaign because yung mga cardinals naman, they don't really want to actively campaign. In fact, di ba, may kasabihan nga na enter the conclave a pope, you leave it a cardinal, which means dapat you don't enter it already feeling like you're gonna win, you're gonna win the papacy. Lots of things to watch out for leading up to May 7.
Because yun nga, di ba, pagpasok nila doon, all they need is the spiritual guidance by the Lord. And yun yung magiging, kung ano yung kakahinatnan niya, ibig sabihin, yun yung gusto ng Diyos, di ba, doon. So, we will see kung ano yung magiging resulta nitong botohan na to, itong conclave na to, kung they will push forward with what Pope Francis did, 'di ba, yung medyo progressive,
very inclusive,
or they will push back into going back to being to their tradition. So anyway, in other news, the National Task Force on the West Philippine Sea hits back at China over its claim at Sandy Cay. In this photo, released by the Chinese Coast Guard, Beijing's national flag can be seen on Sandy Cay too. According to the CCG, they are displaying their sovereign jurisdiction on what they call Tai Shenzhou. But Beijing insisted that they are not creating artificial islands nor any activity of that sort. The National Task Force on the West Philippine Sea, however, hit back, accusing the Chinese government of lying.
We have not lost the Pag-asa case. There is no occupation of the Pag-asa case. There is no seizure or illegal occupation of those cases.
Now, the conflict in Sandy Cay comes amid the ongoing Balikatan exercises.
Let's discuss that further with Colonel Mike Lohico, Assistant Exercise Director of Balikatan. Good morning, Colonel, at salamat po sa pagsali sa amin dito sa News and Views.
Good morning. By the way, I am no longer a colonel.
I'm so sorry po. What's your sir? Your
I was promoted last year. Thank you.
Wow, congratulations
po. So, okay sir, tanungin ko na po, itong pag-aangkin po ng China ng Sandy Cay, do you think this is related to the ongoing Balikatan exercises that we are having right now?
Well, that is to be expected, kasi every year, whenever we conduct our exercises, we will always observe an uptick in activities being conducted by China. Even last year, when we were doing the multilateral maritime exercise, they positioned two of their PLA ships very near the path of the maritime sail, so this is something that we have come to expect, and it's normal that they do this to divert attention away from what we are doing in the exercise. There is a certain assumption na pag may ginawa silang stunt wherever in our operational environment, i-divert natin yung mga resources natin or ipopost natin yung exercise. But it's obviously not working because we've planned this exercise for a very long time, and the exercise is still continuing as per our plan.
All right. Can you tell us more about this year's Balikatan exercises, especially this Nemesis?
The Nemesis is one of the weapon systems that we have incorporated already to the exercise. The other day, Sunday, we were able to successfully deliver it in a rapid insertion exercise up in Batanes. So, nagiging successful na. That means that we have already the capacity to extend our operational reach beyond the island of Luzon and take this capability to our outlying islands. If we can do it in a challenging environment and an airstrip that is suitable for our transport aircraft, then that means that wherever that airstrip exists and wherever the range of our transport aircraft can take us, we can also take that capability wherever the environment permits us.
Well, sir, aside from this incident with China in the Sandy case, 3 Chinese warships were also spotted as the U.S. and Philippine navies were conducting division tactics doon po sa Bolinao, Pangasinan. Tell us about this encounter, sir.
Well, that might also be related. Again, this is nothing new. We've also experienced something similar during last year's multilateral maritime exercise. But the instruction given to all of the participants in the group sail is to continue the exercise no matter what. Say for example, if there are unsafe maneuvers being done by China, by the PLA, or if they have entered into the danger ranges, the ranges of the gunnery exercise. Last year, when the vessels were entering into the opera box, it was during the gunnery exercise. So they paused the gunnery exercise in consideration for the safety of the PLA ships. In this year, they entered during the DivTacs. So division tactics, walang live fire doon. So they still continue with the exercise. And I believe it is we should be commending the discipline and the professionalism of the skipper and crew of both Apolinario Mabini and Ramon Alcaraz for continuing with the exercise despite the attempts, obviously, to disrupt the activity.
Sir, I want to go back dun po sa Nemesis po, US Marines Nemesis. Meron po ba kayo na-disclose na kung saan po na-deploy ito? And ano po yung basehan po kung bakit po dito na-deploy itong mga Nemesis na to?
Well, actually, if you've been listening, I've already mentioned the location of the of the Nemesis. Okay, so I will not go back to that anymore. It is deployed, and it is important that we have already checked out the feasibility of having to deploy it in a challenging airstrip and a challenging environment.
Yeah.
Well, sir, nasa second week na po kayo ng 3-week Balikatan exercise na ito. And what's different this year is it will be featuring a full battle, a comprehensive battle test na talagang simulating real-world scenarios. Tama po ba this will also be the first year that you are integrating air and missile defense simulations sa Balikatan?
First, what the full battle test actually means is that the field training exercises is incorporated into a command and control exercise. In the previous Balikatan exercises, these two events were done separately. So meron tayong command and control exercise in a command post, and we also have a field training exercise which deals with our fires, with maneuvers, and real-life kinetic activities. This time, incorporated na po lahat yan. You have your command and control that is overseeing and not only supervising but also providing leadership on the field training exercise. Okay. And although technically this is not the first time we employed air defense capabilities, we did it also last year, but this time we are integrating everything. Kaya natin tinatawag na integrated air and missile defense. Okay, so what happened was we were able to utilize the Stingers and the MADIS of the United States Marines, and then we were also able to integrate that into the air defense capabilities of our frigates and our G-BADs, our Spider G-BADs. However, since we were not able to provide the appropriate targets for both the AFP assets, we were still able to simulate these fires and project the simulation over to the command and control in a secured and classified space, so that we were also able to train the decision-making process of the joint force when engaging in air threat.
Okay, and finally, sir, what else are lined up for you in these Balikatan exercises in the last few days and the last week? I understand you also have a total of 19 observing nations. So tell us about that, sir.
Yes. Well, one of the activities that are still ongoing, as of yesterday, we did the counter landing exercise in Rizal, Palawan. Next week, we will be doing a similar counter landing exercise up in the province of Cagayan, and we will be continuing with the maritime key terrain security operations in the area of Palawan, west of Palawan, and also the northern islands, both in Cagayan and Batanes. So these exercises are part of the combined and joint all-domain operations. And finally, we will culminate our exercise with a maritime strike. We are going to sink the former BRP Malvar in west of Zambales, and we are going to employ both the capabilities of the AFP and the United States Armed Forces.
All right. Go ahead.
So much to still watch out for. But thank you so much for joining us this morning and for your time. Brigadier General Michael Lohico, Assistant Exercise Director of Balikatan. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. Thank you once again for inviting us.
Now, why is China interested in the Sandy Cay's near Pag-asa Island? Find out in this report by Gretchen Ho.
It was March 21, 2024, when we accompanied a group of scientists from the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources as they made their way to the Sandy Cay's near Pag-asa Island to conduct marine scientific research. The subject of the study, to understand why piles of dead corals taller than a person line these sandbars.
Ito, yung tinaguriang sandbar. Kung natural ito dito, o kaya tinambak lamang dito, yan ang sinisikap alamin ng ating mga scientists sa kanilang marine resource assessment. May mga alegasyon kasi na nire-reclaim ng China itong parte na ito ng karagatan.
But not long after we got to Sandy Cay 2, just 6 kilometers from Pag-asa Island, a Chinese chopper approached and made circles around our group. And when the scientists got to Sandy Cay 1, the helicopter flew even lower, bringing injury to our experts.
My team and I heard this kind of constant beeping sound. It wasn't painful, but it was uncomfortable because I was kind of worried that we don't have enough time, because I was thinking about this beeping sound and then the low air that we have left, and then thinking that maybe if some of the dive equipment is malfunctioning. So I instructed my team member to actually just leave some of the equipments underwater, and was hoping that we can go back up and then have another dive. But when we got off, I was told that we have to abort.
Jonathan Anticamara, professor at the UP Institute of Biology and one of the divers, noticed a difference in the kind of corals that were found underwater and on top of the pile.
Corals are kind of like this. But these kind of corals, these and these are not found there.
Their findings? The marine life in the Sandy Cay is in a degrading state that could have been caused by a combination of overfishing, climate change, and island building activities.
The pile of rubble was very high compared to anything that can be formed by natural force, like a wave, a storm, or anything. And the fact that these rubbles are so white compared to any other rubble underwater that's natural from underwater suggests that already that this is not from underwater. There are piles of big rubble in the middle, but none of them are on the edges of the.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I didn't see the difference.
Yeah, so it's for me, that's also a telling sign. It's difficult for those bigger rubble to cross from the edges, get into the middle.
Because of the weight.
Yeah.
And they're on top.
Yeah, and then suddenly they're in the middle. So it's like, how can they get there?
In a Bloomberg report in December of 2022, satellite images revealed major changes in the Sandy Cay from 2009 to 2021. Yet what could be the interest of China in the Sandy Cays, and why have they surrounded them with Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia ships? The answer, a maritime expert reveals, could be found in 2 islands. Pag-asa Island, which the Philippines occupies, and Subi Reef, an artificial island that China has turned into a military base. And lying in the middle of those 2 islands are Sandy Cays 1, 2, 3, and 4.
It has been thought that maybe that's what they're trying to do in order to claim that Subi Reef has its own territorial sea. They're possibly building up these sand keys, no? The possible way by which they are trying to expand, their area that they're claiming.
With the arbitral ruling of 2016 declaring Subi or Zamora Reef as a low-tide elevation, it effectively did not recognize China's sovereignty over the man-made island. But the Sandy Cays, which are classified as a high-tide elevation, meaning it appears even at high tide, could be used to solidify China's claim over Subi. Article 13 of UNCLOS says if China occupies the Sandy Cays, a 12 nautical mile territorial sea could be drawn around it and give China sovereignty over Subi. On the other hand, with the case being as near as 3 kilometers from Pag-asa Island, the overlapping territorial seas of the Philippines and China could be a source of conflict, with the possibility of China staking claim over Pag-asa.
They're trying to change the physical characteristics of that island. Ang plano nila dyan is gawing isang artificial island as well, where they will compute whatever alleged supposed maritime entitlements they would want, and in effect reverse the 2016 arbitral ruling. Malalim din sila mag-isip at magaling.
Now don't go away because we're not done yet. Stay with us.
Ang init, pero hindi ko inaano yon. Hindi ko dinadaing yon kasi masaya na ako sa ginagawa ko. Kahit sa new powder, share ko pa yan. Kayang-kaya po yan.
Para sa tulad ni Pinturados, walang nakapapasong sikat ng araw, walang nakakapagod na trabaho. Lahat kayang gawin para sa pamilya at para sa hangaring makapagpasaya. Mobile Journal Arles de los Santos po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join them again tomorrow. I'm Pauline Verzosa.
Thank you, Pauline, for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And I'm Angelo Castro. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.